2018 has been a very, very important year for the group, because basically we have finalized the business combination with Glenalta, and basically we have now on the stock exchange what I call so-called a shortcut instead of a traditional IPO, in order to get a little bit, let's say, shorter the process and to get with a cost which is a little bit more limited. This has been a very important step for us in order to get the financial resources required in order to complete our growth path that we have started since 2000, and now we have further developed. In the meantime, we have completed 4 acquisitions, and the main two of these acquisitions are related to Comac, the most important one, and PKS, Packaging System. The first one is an Italian-based company, the second one is a Spanish-based company. The first in the beer market, the second one in the secondary packaging. So basically, these 2 transactions, these 2 deals, has for sure say strengthened the CFT position. The first one in the beer market, because we are already in position of selling brew house complete lines for filling beer in can, in glass, and now with Comac as well in keg, in order to provide our customer with turnkey solutions in a business where we are already in. So that's basically will strengthen the final position, the value proposition, and the offer proposition of CFT in respect of its customers. The second one is the acquisition of PKS. We were not in the secondary packaging business. We provide our customer with complete lines. So at the end of the day, our main aim is to include within our complete lines all the technologies, and so what was missing was the case packer technology. So at the end of the day, having PKS in our product portfolio right now is an important asset in terms of value proposition towards our customers. So these are the main acquisition we have performed over 2018, and we have a long-term strategy in order to continue with this growth path on the basis of the financial resources we have received by the business combination. CFT revenue stream is basically based on 3 main technologies and divisions: processing, packaging, and sorting. Processing is related to the transformation of raw material into semi-finished products. In this case, we are present in different businesses. We are in tomato, we are in fruit and vegetables, we are in beer, we are in dairy. The second main stream is the packaging. In this case, we provide our customer with complete lines from the palletizer to the warehouse, including filling lines, including seaming and case packing, so everything in different businesses like food and beverage. The only non-food business is basically related to lubricating oil. We are in this kind of sector because of the technology that we use in the filling of lubricating oil is the same that we use in the filling of the edible oil. So at the end of the day, generally speaking, we can say that we are a food and beverage company. Last but not least, we have included the sorting business as well. In this case, we are talking about all the technologies, the vision technologies, in order to sort the raw material, in order to get out the green tomato, for example, from the red one, in order to sort the candies, in order to sort the seafoods. And so basically we are in a bunch of application, and that is a business that is growing a lot in terms of end market, in terms of needs of our customer for healthy product and for safety. Having said that, last but not least, I would say that processing and packaging are more related to mature markets, where the customer are more related to the quality of the product and let's say the safety. On the other way around, when we are talking about sorting, we are talking on a high growing market because of the needs from our customer of quality and safety. Having said that, last but not least, we can say that another important application is robotics. Our customers, they are looking at robotics automatization of the systems in order to reduce the manpower cost in their balance sheet, and that is one of the reasons why we are investing a lot in robotic systems in order to provide our customer with advanced solutions in order to reduce their operational costs. The value proposition of CFT is different from the value proposition of our competitors. First of all, I want to stress that there is not one single competitor, because at the end of the day we are a pretty diversified group. We are in the different businesses. We have a quite widely diversified product portfolio. Therefore, we cannot define one single competitor, and that is an asset for us because our bargaining power towards our customer is a little bit higher, because we do not depend on a single customer, but we can provide high technology to our, let's say, big customer, but without depending on only on one or couple of that, taking into account that the concentration of our customer is pretty low and the diversification is pretty high. Having said that, our proposition is basically based on some high technologies. So especially in tomato, we can define to be the market leader. So we are in this business since the beginning of the 90s. So for sure there is no other, I would say there is no other competitor that can be in a leading position like we are on one end. On the other way around, there are some businesses where we have some technologies that could be not only of CFT, but CFT is, if not the first, is basically the second. Like, for example, the keg filling technologies that we have recently acquired in our product portfolio due to acquisition of Comac. Therefore, we can provide our customer with complete lines. That's the same that our competitor can do, but we can provide high technology and some niche products that basically are only related to our product portfolio, and that basically will strengthen our position. Talking about numbers, talking about figures, we expect for the end of the year 2018 a turnover, consolidated turnover around 240 million euro. And despite the cyclicality of the market, the financial market, we expect to get in 5 years' time around 350 million euro. So we expect a growth of around 110 million euro that basically has to be achieved in two main ways. One with the organic growth, the second one with the merger and acquisitions. So in order to consider achievable this kind of result, in terms of organic growth, we have considered this considering a growth rate of our main business higher than 4%, with high expectation in the sorting business, in the robotic business, as well as on our main core business where the group is acting, like tomato, like beer, and like fresh fruit and vegetables. On the other end, we have in mind a certain kind of target of acquisitions, which accounts for around 60-70 million euro, in order to fill some gaps in our product portfolio in terms of technologies or in terms of geographical coverage. So we are pretty sure that we can achieve this kind of result, and we can achieve this result on a basis of the financial facility that we have recently defined and signed in order to be safe in the next 5 years' time, to be the required financial resources to get this result duly achieved. As discussed as already mentioned before, our plan, in our 5-year plan, is basically based on a 110 million euro increase of revenue, so growth. Out of that, 60 or 70 million are basically related to acquisition. So M&A is basically will play for sure an important role in our growth plan, first of all. Secondly, how to manage this kind of acquisition. In order to, I personally believe that in order to acquire a company, you need basically three main requirements. The first one is to have a strategy, and our main strategy is to fill our gaps. So in terms of geographical coverage, as mentioned before, in terms of technologies, because sometimes we provide full complete lines and we miss some technology, some machines. So sometimes it's better to have this technology in-house instead of acquiring this from sub-supplier. The second point is to be able to implement the strategy, so to extract all the commercial and operating synergies from this acquisition. And we have proved, looking at our track record since the last 15 years, to be able to do that. So if you look at the past and you look what someone has done in the past, probably you can get a proxy of what we'll be able to do in the future. So that's the second. The third one is to have the financial resources in order to do that. And that's the reason why we have recently signed with the main financial institution a credit line of 100 million euro to be used, if needed, in the next 3 years in order to fulfill our achievements. So that's basically the main requirements. If we look at the recent months, we have done 4 acquisitions. Two exactly are the two that you mentioned, are Comac and Mill Project. Mill Project is a small one, so I would like just to stress the attention on the first one, on Comac, that exactly is on the basis of the requirement that we have mentioned before. First one, because Comac fill one gap. We had everything in the beer except for the keg filling. So Comac is a leading company in the keg filling, so was the first. The second one is the capacity of implementing the strategy, and now we have created a beverage platform in terms of sales, because at the end of the day we cannot afford the management of a company independently, but we need to have this company fully integrated in our commercial sales network. The third one, to have the required financial resources. In this case, financial resources come from the business combination with Glenalta, so basically with the shortcut of the IPO, and that is basically the way we have we have looked at the future in the recent months.